The last part of this lesson then is about the cell cycle. And the cell cycle is just a way of describing the stages that cells can go through in plants. And I should emphasize off the start that not all plants go through all of these cycles in the cell. Some cells, in fact most of the cells in the plant, don't go through all of these. But those cells that are going to divide and do divide are cells that go through the whole cell cycle. So in general, when you take a look at this cell cycle, there's what's called the interphase, which is 3/4 of this pie, and then there's mitotic phase, which is 1/4 of the pie. You might have to look at the diagram on the right a little bit closely to see these bits, but the bottom 3/4 are all labeled interphase, and the top 1/4 is called the mitotic phase. Interphase is that stage where the cell is primarily just being a cell. It's like, for instance, a parenchyma cell that is in the plant, and it's been produced. It has matured to maybe be part of some stiffening in the plant. It's alive, but it's not going to be reproductive. It's not going to divide, and it is sitting in the G1 phase, the growth phase. There are some cells, though, like parenchyma cells, for instance, that can be stimulated to go through cell division, or the cells that are in the meristems particularly, that move on from the G1 phase and enter the S phase of interphase. And that is where the cell is preparing to divide, because it goes through a phase called synthesis, where new DNA is synthesized because the chromosomes are all replicating in preparation for cell division. And we'll study that process in some subsequent lectures. But in interphase is a phase after the growth phase called S, where new DNA is synthesized, and it's only entered by cells, for instance, those in the meristem, or parenchyma cells that are stimulated to go through cellular division. And then after the synthesis phase of interphase is called the G2, or the second growth phase, where the cells that have had their chromosomes replicated again sit and just act like cells. They're all ready to go through mitosis, but they haven't started yet. And then at the top of the circle, you'll see the mitotic phase. And we'll break down all of these parts of mitosis and what happens to the chromosomes later. But for now, what I want to mention is this mitotic phase is where the cells now actually do go through cell division, and one cell becomes two. So in general, the cell cycle shows that cells can be in an interphase stage where they're just acting like cells, particularly in G1, and most cells in the plant are stuck there. They don't go any further. But some cells in the meristem and parenchyma cells that are stimulated to divide are going to then move into the S phase of interphase, where DNA is replicated, into the G2 where they wait, and then wham, into mitosis where they go through division.